check there. Today we got going live again on Facebook, and are you ready to light this candle? Huh? I think I am. Let's just get going. All right, welcome to this week's edition of the Unknown Files Show, brought to you in part by our good friends out at Revelton Distillery down in Osceola. They are the official spirit of the show. Did you get that? Spirits of the show. We got a fun show for you tonight. We're going to be visiting with some paranormal investigators. Last week we did our first show. If you're just watching for the first time, this is a little different than what we usually do, hunting and fishing, but this show is called Unknown Files. It's right there on the upper corner right there. You can't, I got to go the opposite way. But last week we talked about Bigfoot. We had Tobe Johnson on and Brett Eckenberger, I believe his gentleman's name is. And David, hi, Tony, what's going on? This is going to be going to the app. Thank you, Tony. I appreciate that. We got a chance to visit. They did a documentary on Bigfoot called Flash of Beauty. They got a sequel coming out, and it is going to be a lot of fun. So I'm going to call our guest real quick and get him on and see if we can connect there. Andrew's gone. I told him to stay home because of the weather, so it's just us tonight. Steven, is that you?
Hello.
Steven, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you, Dan?
I'm good. We're live on the air right now, so let me say hi to David and Tony and Louie and Lewis and Kent. Everybody watching us on Facebook Live. Thanks for everybody tuning in on the Outdoor Call Radio app. Man, tonight's going to be a fun show. We got Stephen Tracy on the line. If you have ever heard of the Villisca Axe House murder house down in Villisca, Iowa, we're going to kind of talk a little bit about that. The crime happened back in 1912 when someone broke in and killed J.B. Moore and his family. There were 2 adults, 6 children murdered. And to this day, as far as I know, they have never found out who the murderer was. So we're going to visit with Stephen, who is with the Iowa Paranormal. Is it Iowa Paranormal? Is that the official title, or is it Iowa Paranormal Group?
That is the official title, Iowa Paranormal, yes.
Okay, all right. We're going to go and talk about that and see what's going on. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. We're avoiding some of that, weather that's up north there. I'm down south, so we're just out of it.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Lewis is watching from Vermont. Hey, Louie. Thank you, buddy. Lewis, I appreciate that, man. Lewis Young. We got to be a cousin there somewhere, huh? That's awesome. That's exciting. Well, I've got to tell you, Stephen, I've never been inside the house. I've driven by it, and I've been in Iowa for 22 years. And I know there's a lot of folks that have been down there to look at it. And actually, my wife has been there. But from everything I've seen, that thing is an incredibly small house.
Oh, my goodness. It is very small. And, the thing that really a lot of people who have never been there don't understand is, like, this house is in the middle of town. I mean, it's surrounded by other houses, apartments, and such.
Yeah.
It's literally in the middle of town, but once you step inside there, you don't even realize that. The interior of the house is, they made it out to how it was back in the early 1900s. You're just stepping into a whole different time, and you don't even realize them outside elements anymore.
Yeah. Now, how long has it been since you've been down there again?
Oh, it's been several years now. I would honestly say at least 4 years since I've been down to Villisca.
Okay. Have you been down there more than once?
Oh, I bet I've been down there anywhere 10 to 15 times.
Okay, that's what I thought you. That's what I thought you said. So now, does the same family? Is it the Lenz? Are they still the owners, or does somebody else own it now?
As far as I know, Martha is. Darwin passed away there, I believe, 8-9 years ago.
Gotcha.
But I believe Martha still owns it. Yeah.
Okay. So just a little bit of the history. This all happened back in 1912, and I've read several stories on the case and stuff. And first they thought it was a railroad worker And then they thought it was somebody there in Villisca that the family had gotten into financial difficulties with. There was some discrepancies or arguing about money. I heard that theory. They never really did find out what really happened, did they? Besides, or who did it?
No, there was many suspects. There's at least 4 or 5 suspects. There's even one Reverend Kelly that I believe he even admitted to doing it, but there was a hung jury. He was indicted. He got out of it. No one believed him. I think they thought he was a little crazy. But yeah, there's just still to this day. I mean, everybody has their own theories about who did it. I think there's probably even some families still there in Villisca who just passed on hearing stories about it that just are adamant they know who did it.
Yeah.
That it was local. It was someone that lived there in Villisca, but I don't think we'll ever truly know.
Well, didn't they? From one thing, they said because the house is real close to the railroad tracks, right?
That is correct. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty close to the tracks. So, that's where they thought it was a transient, someone on the railroad, because they were murdered with an axe. That's how that was the speculation there, but that really never panned out either, did it?
Well, here's the thing: is so there's a paranormal author, a friend of mine. His name's Troy Taylor.
Oh, I actually we're going to have him on in a couple of weeks.
Oh, very cool, awesome.
Yeah. He's a gentleman. He's a gentleman over in Illinois, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, and
he's a great guy. He's done a ton of research into this, and so a lot of this is just based on, this is his work.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to take credit for someone else. The research he's done into it and such. But a lot, one of his theories is, if you look, I believe less than a year before that, down in Texas, out there in Colorado, Kansas, I believe even Illinois, there were very similar murders that happened with people just being bludgeoned to death in the middle of the night with an axe. A lot of the same kind of characteristics that happened at the Villisca house.
Yeah. Well, I knew there was one in Illinois because I didn't know about the other ones real quick. Brant, how you doing, buddy? Dale Griffin, good to see you. Grant Neal, my PW brother from another mother. Good to see you, Grant. I love Grant Neal. Hey, did you watch that video, Grant, I did for you with the bino things? You check that out. I think you'll like that. I got to tell you, I didn't hear about the Kansas or the other ones, but the Illinois connection I did hear about. And that one went unsolved too, didn't it?
Yeah, I believe most of them they've been unsolved. Back then, I mean, they didn't have the forensic, DNA tests, none of that back then, obviously.
Yeah.
So just people trampling through there because, some of them were very small towns and obviously everybody wanted to go in there and see what was going on. So just so much contamination and such that proper investigations could not be done back then.
Yeah. Robert, thank you, Robert. Grant, thanks, buddy. It's all you, Grant. Team Grant. It's all that. I'm sorry, Stephen. I got Facebook Live cranking. People are chiming in.
That's fine.
You should have seen it last week when I had Bigfoot guys on. I mean, it was getting hairy, man. No pun intended. I had people saying, "Yeah, P." Oh, it was crazy. So, all right. Well, let's talk about the parent. Let's get into down the rabbit hole. You guys chase ghosts. I mean, that's what you like to do. You like to go and do investigations on anything paranormal. That's why we started this show. The main emphasis was if this is your first time watching tonight or listening, I get a dozen emails a year, every year, about people seeing Bigfoot in Iowa and Missouri, where I do my Sunday night show, and they want me to come and look at it, or can you come out? They're chasing the cattle, they're doing something to the horses, and it's like, guys, I just can't, But I mean, call the conservation department, call the DNR. Call your sheriff's office, and every year I go, there's thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people are seeing something out there, and so that was the inspiration to do. Why don't we talk about this stuff and see what we can find out and have some fun with it, it's hunting. We're just hunting things that are intangible, but it's always a lot of fun. Now ghosts. I've talked about this on the show, and I know I'm going to have some people eye rolling and stuff. I know ghosts are real. I've actually, the house that I had Well, here I'm going to step back. Stephen. I'm going to take a step back, then we'll get back to the Villisca Axe House thing. When I was a young man, when my grandparents, where they got married in Kentucky, my grandfather, who never fibbed, he did not, and he didn't embellish stuff. I mean, Pop was just a black and white down the line guy. And he said when they got married in their house, every morning the dresser drawers would be pulled out. And no matter what they did, it didn't matter. At least half of them would be pulled out. Now, they were the only ones in the house. So, that's what kind of got me going there. And then the house that I had previous to this one, I've got some stuff on tape. And I told the story last week, I believe. I think I told it. When I bought the house, it was just me and the house inspector in the house. The basement was unfinished, and we're down there going through the walkthrough and everything. And we had a cat meow. We heard it meow, and I looked at him and I said, "Did you hear that?" Now this is a total empty basement. Nothing's there. Their furnace is there. The well's there. The what do you call that? Where the you know what I'm talking about, right? For the water to go in the basement. What's that called?
Oh, right.
Yeah, your
The
sub pump. Thank you. The sub pump was there, and that's it. There was nothing else. The basement was totally bare. And I said, "Did you hear that?" And he goes, "Yeah, it was a cat." And I said, "There's no cat here." And we looked around. We went upstairs. There was no cat, but we both heard it. And then a couple months after I moved in, I got the house finished off downstairs, and I put a studio in, and I still got the videos, but you can see stuff coming out of the wall, flying, and go right by me. I could see it on camera in the monitor. I couldn't see it with my eye, but I could, and that happened 3 times in 7 years. So,
wow!
Yeah, which was pretty freaky. Yeah. So,
Absolutely.
I honestly believe that with all my heart. So. What got now? You guys launched in 2008. What got you into doing this? How did you guys get into this?
So I never had any kind of personal experience growing up.
Yeah.
Nothing happened to me to chase it. A lot of it came from, honestly, I think my love of horror films and the macabre and such. I grew up a big horror movie fan, and I think it just kind of slowly stemmed from that somehow. And it was, in my late teens, early 20s, that's when I started, just going to cemeteries by myself, doing little mini investigations, that type of thing. And so it wasn't till, 2008, my wife and I, we met up with some people just at the right time who were interested in it. And we thought that was the perfect time to start a group. And so, in 2008, we started Iowa Paranormal. And just been going ever since, 14 years now, which is hard to believe. Still going strong.
Well, it's fun if you got a bunch of people that when I go hunting and stuff, I always enjoy being with my friends, the camaraderie, and you get to talk about what you've seen, and it's probably the same thing. You just you're not trying to fill the freezer. You're trying to get something on EVP,
right.
Your EVP or something on camera.
For sure. Yeah.
So when you guys went to Villisca, what was your access like? Did you just do the tour? Did you get a chance to go in there afterwards and do an investigation? What access did they give you?
So when we went in there, every time that we've gone in there, we do a full-on overnight investigation.
Okay.
Where we have the place to ourselves, and so I mean, it's just from 8 o'clock at night till 8 o'clock in the morning, just constantly investigating. And with it being such a small space, I mean, there's not really, if you hear something upstairs, you're probably going to hear it downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
It's that small. But every time we've been there, we've stayed in there overnight.
Okay. And how many times have you been there?
Oh, at least 10 to 15.
So, and all of that stuff, I mean, EVPs, you guys got recorders, digital recorders going. How many EVPs have you guys gotten?
So with EVPs, out of all the times we've been there, we have never captured any sort of EVP.
Okay, now that's an electronic voice phenomenon.
Yes, that is the electronic voice phenomenon. That is something that is captured on the recorders that we don't hear with our ears right there.
Okay. Well, now, see, I appreciate you saying that, because that, to me, that gives you more credibility. to me,
Right.
because
Absolutely.
you're not trying to fake anything. So, because
No.
I've seen us, and I said this last week, Stephen, and this is just my 2 cents. You don't need to chime in if you don't want to, but I think, you can't turn the TV on without watching, there's either something ghost or paranormal or Bigfoot related. I mean, they're all over the place. And it's
Right.
just, I can watch 5 minutes of them and I got to turn them off because it's like, that's all staged. It's scripted. You can tell, and I like the shows that are the people that I talk to that try to debunk or to say, you know what, we didn't have anything tangible that we could say was really happening. I like that.
Absolutely. And I would love an episode of any ghost show where it's an hour's worth or 44 minutes with commercials of them sitting in a bedroom at 3 o'clock in the morning with absolutely nothing going on, but the only noise you hear is your belly rumbling.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to tell you, 90% of the time, that's what's happening.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Stewie, I'm glad you brought the Scott. How you doing up in New York, Scott? Good to see you. I appreciate you. My buddy Stewie says we need to go to Bondurant. Actually, Matt, Stewie, this guy actually has control of that school. We're going to talk about that later tonight. So you got a Farrar fan out there already. How about that?
Awesome.
That's
Farrar's a great place.
That's one of my hunting buddies, Matt Stewie. So.
Yeah.
So, did you see anything? Did you get anything on camera or video?
Yeah, so one of the things, the very first time that we went there, actually, we were up in the children's room upstairs where the Moore kids were murdered.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the rumors at the time was the closet door would open and close on its own. And a lot of theories was, did one of the kids hide in there at a time, or even is the spirit hiding in there, just scared of that killer still? And so we were actually setting up a camera to film towards that closet door. Got the camera set up, walked out of the room, and we heard a slam.
Really?
And so we went back in there, and sure enough, we have it captured of the closet door opening. I mean, it only opens probably 2-3 inches, but then slams shut. And it was right after we walked out of there, and it was really incredible. And of course, and there might be some listeners that have been there and are like, hey, I've heard that story. If you look inside the closet door, up on the ceiling is a opening to the attic. And that's one thing we look for. Could it be an air draft, doing that type of thing? But it was completely sealed, taped up, cardboard, no air draft at all. So I just want to, throw that out there as well, that something happens, we obviously look for any kind of natural explanation.
Okay.
If we can disprove it. But on this time we could not. That was a amazing experience.
Okay, so that hole or access to the attic was inside the closet?
That is correct.
Okay,
yep.
Okay, but if there was a hole there or air, if there was any kind of flow, that wouldn't. The door shut. It didn't open, right?
Oh no, it opened.
It opened. I'm sorry. I thought it said it slammed shut.
Nope. It opened and closed.
Okay, all right. Well, I can see why you did. You lost me there for a second. I'm sitting there going, wait a minute. I thought he said it's slammed shut, and I'm going, I don't know if a vacuum. I guess a vacuum could do it, but did you look for any kind of electric mechanisms or fishing line or anything?
Yes. And my next story about what happened there really got us looking for those kind of things. So several years ago, I did a public hunt there. It was actually for Troy Taylor's company,
mm-hmm.
where people can get tickets and come along, and I host the event there. And it's basically for people who, they're not part of a group, but they just want to experience this type of thing. So it was a small group because it's obviously a small house. It was probably about 10 to 12 of us total that night. And for the first several hours, there was absolutely nothing going on. And so I thought, everybody was outside, and I thought, you know what, let's try this. I'm like, does anybody here want to go in by themselves?
Uh-huh.
And obviously no one raised their hand. But finally, this one guy, he's like, you know what, I'll go ahead and go in there and such. And so he has a video camera, and this video is actually on our YouTube page. If you go to YouTube, type in "Iowa Paranormal," and you'll find it after I talk about this here. So he has this video camera, and you got to remember, at this time, this guy he literally bought this video camera at like Target the day before. No idea what kind of camera to get. It didn't have any kind of night vision, nothing like this, and the settings were all messed up. So it's kind of like blurry and slow motion camera as he goes in there. But he's kind of just walking around on the bottom floor there, talking, asking questions. And finally, he's like, "Does anybody want to play?" And he asked that at the bottom of the stairs. So he's like, "Anybody want to play?" And as he starts to walk up the stairs, and this is on our YouTube page, loud as day, and so this is a disembodied voice. This is not an EVP. This is a voice that he hears with his own ears, and it's captured on camera. You hear what sounds like a little boy, loud as can be, say, "I want my mom."
Really?
And it is. It's there. It's clear as can be. And he just froze. And he's like, "What the F?"
Yeah. Yeah.
And
yeah.
so he's paralyzed in fear. You can just tell. And he's just starting to breathe heavy and everything, And finally, he is able to get out of there. And he's like, "You guys won't believe what happened." And he plays back the footage, and we hear this, and it's incredible.
Yeah,
we've had this footage for a long time.
That's crazy.
It is. Yeah.
Anita said that they had a ball shoot out from under the bed between where their legs. It was only them in the house overnight. They had that happen, and then Kelly said they rented the house for a night, and it was really crazy.
Yeah, a lot of people have had different experiences. Even with the ball, I've heard different groups and people in there that someone will roll the ball right back to them.
Yeah,
it's very common.
That's crazy. All right, and then now I've actually seen some live stuff out there, and how much validity do you give in orbs? I mean, isn't 90% of that dust that lends dust and stuff?
Yes, and I have been yelled at by people for telling them this. It was like I've done a lot of these public hunts over the years, so all these people will come up to me during the night and be like, "Hey, I want to show you this, what I have on these pictures that I got at home. If you can give me your opinion, I've got all these ghosts." And I got to look at the picture and unfortunately break the news to them that those 1,000 round dots on their camera is nothing but any kind of airborne particle.
Yeah.
And I've had a lot of people upset with me about that. But, if I'm to tell you right there that ball of light is Harry the Light Keeper, I'd be laughed out of the field.
Rick asked a really good question on Facebook. He said, "I want to go and see it, but my wife is afraid something will follow us home."
I understand the concern.
Well, he's talking about something attaching to it, which is and that's a common theme or theory that things can latch onto you and follow you. They could ride on.
Yeah, I believe it's possible. Maybe not so much with strong-minded people, but I have heard of it. It's never really happened to me. I've had a few weird dreams immediately when I got home from investigation that was really out of the norm. But as far as anything following me home, I've never had that happen. Just don't let Hollywood freak you out. I'll say that much.
Yeah, I've been trying to reach out to the people that The Conjuring was based on, and I can't get the publicist to get back with me, but. That was such an exaggeration of what actually happened from some of the people I've talked about. So Hollywood does embellish.
Very sensationalized.
Yeah. So it's just kind of crazy. All right, now let me ask you this now: has anybody ever seen any shadows, documented shadows that they couldn't explain, or apparitions, anything like that?
Oh yeah, at the Villisca house, there were so. I have this footage. I don't have it released publicly because this was actually one of Troy's events. This was the first time I met Troy back in like 05 or 06.
Mm-hmm.
He was doing a public hunt there, and this was before I was started the group and anything. And we were at the Villisca house, and we had this footage of a shadow figure running behind all of us in the main living room on the first floor. And it's just this black shadow figure. It's caught on camera and everything. And the reason I don't release it, there's other people in the video, you know, that just don't want their faces to be shown. But I respect that.
Did you guys see it at the time, or did you go back and just watch the footage and see it?
No, it was back reviewing the footage. I was like, what is that? Just the way it moved. There was a piano back in the far corner at the time.
Yeah.
And it just ran right to the piano, and it just kind of vanished. But it was pretty incredible. Yeah.
Yeah. Rick said, "Are you saying that they're weak-minded about the attachments?" I don't think he was saying that, Rick.
No. With the attachments, I mean, it's very rare.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something that I could probably count on one hand the amount of times that something has went home with someone. I just think there's circumstances we just don't fully understand as to why something would follow someone home.
Yeah, I'm a Christian, so I know some people say you shouldn't be talking about some of this stuff. I get that once in a while, but you know what? To me, I grew up with it. I just love the lore of it, and I just don't think that I just don't think any of that stuff can hurt you. I might scare you a little bit, but I've been to 4 so-called real haunted houses. One was the Lent Mansion in St. Louis. And I spent the night in there with some friends, and we had something swoosh across the floor behind me. We never could figure out what that was, but I mean, I've never seen anything or heard anything I couldn't explain. So I think as long as I always say a little prayer before I go anywhere, and I do that when I'm hunting. I always say, thank you for this day, and to please keep us all safe and let us be successful and help us get home to our families. I do that every time I go. So I don't think this is stuff. The wife is asking if all kinds of questions about what I'm listening to. I told her to get the app. Well, there you go, Rick. Get the app, man. Yeah, that's all right. That's funny. Well, I got to tell you, I'm going to take a real quick break. And before we go, if someone wants to get more information about the Villisca house, they've got a really nice website. Stephen, is there anything you want to tell the folks on that?
Yeah, I mean, with the Villisca house alone, you can book tours there. If you go to their website, they have like daytime tours you can do. Mm-hmm. The overnight. I mean, the place does get pretty booked up if you plan on doing an overnight investigation. Like, it's booked months out. Sometimes even a year or two out. So, yeah, definitely go to the website and try to get in there at some point.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, Stephen, you hang on. I'm going to take a real quick break, and we'll be right back for some more Unknown Files with Stephen Tracy. And we're going to talk about another place that he has investigated. Stewie, this is for you, buddy. We're going to be talking about a haunted school right here in Iowa. We'll be right back after these fine words for some of our partners.
Whether it's camping, hunting, or fishing, you want your camping setup to be easy and your stay as comfortable as possible. Camprite has been helping folks enjoy the outdoors as problem-free as possible since 1999. Camprite
That's crazy, Ken.
Enthusiasts that
wow.
use and design each product to make sure your adventures are ones you'll want to remember. They carry great tents like the original tent cot
that's wild, man.
This fully enclosed, off-the-ground sleep shelter combines the comfort of a standard sleeping cot with the added protection of a tent. Camprite features several models of tent cot units, including single and double units. They also specialize in sleeping bags, camping tables, cooking prep units, chairs, and other fine quality outdoor products. With over 17 years of field testing, great outdoor gear products, Camprite is the right choice to make adventures not only comfortable, but also carefree. Check out all these Camprite products at your local Sportsman's Warehouse or anytime on the web at camprite.com. That's camprite with a K.com.
Let's talk about a story, an Iowa story about a dream that took several years to come true in Osceola, Iowa. It's the story of Revelton Distilling Company. These fine distillers.
Another fine evening on the Unknown Files, huh? I appreciate y'all watching. Thank you.
Hearing the customers' descriptions of how unique each bottle looks and how each spirit tastes and
I love all this stuff. It's fun.
Sip. From the honey whiskey to the whiskey and cream, or the robust mulberry gin, American gin, or vodkas, Revelton Distilling visitors can't believe the flavor profiles the mixologists are creating at the distillery every day. Revelton Distillery is open Wednesday through Sunday in Osceola. They're located at 1400 West Clay Street, right off I-35. Revelton Distillery fine spirits are also available at your local grocery and other retailers around Iowa. Please check them out online at ReveltonDistillery.com or visit them at the distillery. If it's time to celebrate or just time to sit back and unwind, well, then it's time for a Revelton moment.
Heading on your next adventure and looking for some snacks to take? Why not?
Thank you, Kent. That's really nice of you.
I need to talk to you sometime about that stuff.
Soldier Boy beef jerky. Soldier Boy jerky is slow smoked in small batches to ensure generous, tender morsels that taste outstanding. Soldier Boy beef jerky offers the following flavors.
There you go, Tommy.
Original maple or peppered flavors.
Put some of that homemade fudge out there, bud. That'll get them going.
Soldier Boy beef jerky is veteran-owned and proud supporters of the Canines for Warrior Foundation. They also donate to troops that are deployed serving our country. So next time you're looking for snacks from home or on your next outdoor adventure, please remember to reach for some Soldier Boy beef jerky, available at Sportsman's Warehouse.
Hey, Chris. How you doing, bud?
Beef jerky, outstanding taste that keeps you satisfied in the field. For more information, please check us out online at www.sbjerky.com.
Hey, America, when you barbecue, cookies is the one. Lots of flavor, lots of goodness, thick and rich, lots of fun. Hey, America, when you barbecue, try Cookies barbecue sauce for a treat. Cookies barbecue sauce is the barbecue sauce America loves to eat.
Last one, guys.
Favorite outdoor spot? Is your hunting, fishing, or utility knife ready for any task? Well, if you used the original Work Sharp knife and tool sharpener before you left, you bet they are. The Work Sharp knife and tool sharpener is designed to sharpen every knife you own. By using changeable, flexible, abrasive belts, the sharpening system is able to sharpen a variety of knives, including curved and serrated knives, tonto blades, fillet knives, gut hooks, axes, and even kitchen knives. The Work Sharp knife and tool sharpener does this with precision angle sharpening guides and flexible abrasive belts to ensure the proper 20-degree angle every time. Each Work Sharp knife and tool sharpener is assembled in the USA by a family-owned and operated company. Customer service is always a call away. So if you love the outdoors and depend on a sharp knife, consider checking out one of the Work Sharp knife and tool sharpeners or the Work Sharp guided field sharpener at a store near you, or anytime at WorkSharpTools.com. That's WorkSharpTools.com.
All right, welcome back to the Unknown Files show number 2. We're talking about the Villisca Axe House murder and some other ghost stuff. And we got Stephen Tracy with Iowa Paranormal on the line. Stephen, you still there, my friend?
Yes, sir.
All right, we had a gentleman say, Tommy, my buddy in Ohio, who's one of my buddies. He said that loving the show at my mom's house, we had all of the cabinets open up on their own overnight, and small kids' handprints in the dust of the arm of the chair. We haven't had the kids in the house, and when we first moved in, it was just nuts. That's pretty crazy. And then
that's some poltergeist stuff right there.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. And then Kurt said, my wife freaks out when the clock chimes that isn't wound. She thinks it's her family members that have moved on. And so my wife is asking all kinds of questions. Rick said to tell her to go get the app. And let's see, Hoyt said shwoo, and we got another guy that said that they flip houses. A friend of mine on Facebook said that they had some stuff exercised in a couple houses, and they had activity before, and they got documentation after. That's some crazy stuff there. Now that's crazy. Yeah. So I'm just telling you. All right, now let's talk about schools, because I know that when I drive around in the country and down in Kansas, some of the places that I've seen filming the TV show over the years, when I'm out in the middle of nowhere, are old abandoned churches and schools. And whenever I have time, if I know, I always sometimes I'll pull over and just kind of take a look at them and look inside just to see the architecture, how they were made, and look at the history and stuff. There's one of my favorite pictures I've ever gotten. I was elk hunting in Colorado, and on the way to the ridge where we were elk hunting, there was an old lean-to church. The bell, and I've still got pictures of it. I'll post it on Facebook once in a while. But I mean, that stuff fascinates me, Stephen. And I never seen or heard anything, but it's spooky. And you actually have access to a place that you've actually seen or heard stuff that's an old school. And why don't you tell everybody what we're talking about?
Yes, the Farrar Schoolhouse here in just a small town, Farrar/Maxwell, Iowa. Just a little tiny community, just north of Des Moines. Oh, heck, I don't know, probably 15, 20 miles, I would imagine. Out in the middle. It's out in the middle of nowhere. Okay, like literally you're driving down some old highway in the middle of nowhere, and before you know it, you look to your left, and there's just this big abandoned school out in the middle of nowhere. This place, I believe it opened in 1922, closed down in 2002, so it was open for 80 years. This place, Jim and Nancy Oliver, they are the current owners of the place. I believe they bought it back in like 06 or such. And they had some weird things happen to them when they moved in and such. But what's really crazy, see, here's the thing with the Farrar Schoolhouse. No one knows for sure why this place is haunted. Okay, there's been no documented deaths. Different things like it was a school. It should be a happy place. A lot of energy going through that place. But there have been rumors, and remember, these are just rumors of a nasty principal there. I think, when we were in school, every principal was probably nasty in our minds, a mean old person, and that's how they describe them. And there was also rumors of like a janitor that did bad things there, but all this stuff, there's never been any kind of proof of this.
Okay.
It's,
well,
no one truly knows.
Isn't there a cemetery close to that, though?
Yes, right across the road there is a cemetery.
Okay.
And I mean, that's the closest things people, relate to is just spirits that are just literally coming across the road and hanging out in the school. No one knows. Is it something that was on that land way, way before the school was even built?
Mm-hmm.
No one truly knows. But how it all got started with investigating this place was there was this lady who was a psychic. I believe her name was Jackie. Back in like 07 or 08, I believe, she literally was. This is the story I was told. Driving by the school one day and just had some weird feeling about the school, or seen like a little kid's face in one of the windows, and just had that feeling that there was something there. And she literally went up there, knocked on the door, met Jim and Nancy, said, "Hey, I had this, feeling there's something in the school." Was allowed in the school, caught some things, and ever since then, they opened it up for investigations. Again, I with a school like this and as much activity that's happened, that I'm going to tell you guys why it's haunted. I just don't know. And it's kind of frustrating too.
Yeah. Well, tell me. Okay, now I read up on Farrar and the school, and I can't remember what book it was in. A book I read. And tell me, what's this about the radio? They keep hearing a radio downstairs?
Oh, that's news to me.
Oh, you haven't heard about that?
No.
Yeah, they said when they were there, they heard a radio, and it was like downstairs there's a closet, like a custodial or a utility closet, and they could never find a radio, but they heard a radio playing.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me in that area that something like that would happen. Yep.
Yeah. Rick said that last night the dog's squeaky ball squeaked I assumed it was the wife. Dog was on my lap. His ears went straight up. The wife heard it and assumed it was me or the dog. The noise came from the kitchen, and she was in the bedroom. The dog and I were in the living room, and the squeaky toy was on the floor in the living room. Don't know what made the noise. That's kind of creepy. Yeah. I'm telling you what, man. Hoyt says that it's the devil. He's behind all of it.
Right.
Oh, that's funny. Well, you know that house I told you about that we owned. My wife actually, in the middle of the night, went to get something to drink, and the basement stairs were right there. And she went to the refrigerator, and she came back in the bedroom, and she was scared. I go, "What's the matter?" She goes, "Dan, did you just call my name?" I said, "No, I was sleeping." She goes, "Somebody just said Jenny." And it freaked her out. I said, and I got up. I got up and I went and looked around and went downstairs, and I just said, "Casper, don't do that. She doesn't like it." You know. But anyway, so now have you guys? Now let's just take a step back and talk about hauntings. There's several types of hauntings. Some can be intelligent hauntings. Some can be residual hauntings. That means that it's like on a tape. It just replays and replays and replays. An intelligent haunting can actually, that's where they interact, or they, like the disembodied voice. Would that be an intelligent haunting that you heard in Villisca?
Maybe not so much. It could be either or.
It could be either or.
It could just be, at that specific time, every third Friday of the month, just something like a tape recorder that voice just plays out loud at that specific time.
Okay, so when you're at the school, what's some of the activity you've seen and heard at the school?
Oh, I don't even know where to begin. Okay, so July 16th, 2011. I'll never forget that date. That was the second time we were at our schoolhouse investigating.
Mm-hmm.
This was one of the most active nights I've ever had investigating any place. So, if anyone that's listening has ever been there, up there on the third floor, there's a huge stage area, just one big large room with a big stage there. At this time, back in 2011, there was actually walls that separated that huge room. It was actually 4 smaller rooms at that time. So, which was cool because you just felt like there was more rooms to investigate, you know. But up against the west side of the school, inside there was a pathway that you could just walk, you know, just go through each of the rooms there all the way up to the stage.
Yeah.
Well, me and another investigator at the time, and you see our reaction on camera. One of the other investigators has a camera on us, and we're walking through this little pathway, and we both see at the same exact time and react instantly. We see this figure up on the stairs that go up to the stage. We see this weird gray mist, shadowy figure standing at the top of the stairs, and it literally walks out the wall. And it walks out the wall of the third floor. So if I walked out of a wall, I would drop down about 30 feet to my death.
Now
it literally walked outside.
Wow. Sam just said he'd like to stay and listen, but this stuff just creeps the heck out of him. Good night. Night, Sam. Thank you, buddy. So was this during the day or this at night that you saw this?
This was at night.
At night.
Now, was at night.
How was it dark in there? Did you have illumination or?
Yeah, so it was pitch black in there, but the windows are open, and so with the moon shining, there's just enough of that ambient light shining through there that you can see certain parts and such. And we instantly, my first thought on camera, I'm like, okay, you go with her, you describe what you've seen, I'm going to go with this person, describe what I've seen. So that way, you know, without each of us feeding off each other's story, you know, of what we've seen. But we were just so wound up right there. Like, it was the first time we've really seen a full figure apparition.
Yeah.
And so we're just like, instantly at the same time, we're like, okay, I just seen this figure walk out of the wall. She's like, yep, that's exactly what I did. We described it the same, everything. It was just absolutely incredible. And that was just, you know, that was the beginning of the night. Another instance where we literally go up to the third floor. Now, again, the third floor of the Farrar Schoolhouse, and I say this in interviews, anytime I've been paper, TV, anything like this, I always tell them the third floor at Farrar is the scariest spot that I've ever been at. I cannot go up there by myself at this place, and I've been to a lot of places. I've been to Waverly Hills Sanatorium, Bobby Mackey's. I've been to a lot of really creepy places. But the third floor at Farrar, even in the middle of the daytime, I can't go up there by myself. It just has this foreboding feeling that I just don't like.
Yeah.
We go up there again that night, and we stand by the principal's office, and one of our investigators, Pat, is just like, hey, if someone's here, slam a locker door shut. And I'm not kidding. Instantly after that, a locker door just slammed shut.
Real? A locker?
Locker.
Wow.
Locker just slammed shut on command. It's like a paranormal investigator, moment that they're waiting for, just something on command, to do something like that. Just footsteps. We would just be sitting still up on the third floor, and you literally just hear someone walking, and it sounded like with boots on, up and down the hallway. I mean, it was just one of the most active nights I've ever had.
But that doesn't happen all the time, though. I mean, you guys have been out there, and it's nothing, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Our first time in 2010, we were at Farrar. Absolutely nothing happened.
Yeah.
And that's one thing as a paranormal investigator you got to always keep in mind is 90% of the time, probably even that, absolutely nothing's going to happen. That's what I tell people, like families that call me that, have something going on in their home and want us to investigate, is I always let them know, like, please don't be upset or offended if we don't find anything. You're inviting us, into your home for 8 hours, and you've lived there for 35 years.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that we don't believe you. It's just we're only there for a few hours one night, and we, probably aren't going to capture anything, but we will do our best to try anyway.
Stephen, Tommy in Ohio said there's a haunted school up in Middletown, closer to Carlisle, that you can go visit after hours. You can actually hear kids' footsteps across the floors. Now that's weird.
Oh, really?
That's what Tommy Allen, yeah. Let's see. I can't do that, Hoyt. I can't play that. It's any licensed music I'm not touching. I don't want to pay royalties for it. He's telling me I should have Ghostbusters on. Funny movie. I like the movie. Hey, Bill. Good to see you, Bill. No, that's crazy. Now, did you get documentation of the lockers? Did you get that on tape at all, or did you just?
Yeah.
You did.
Yes, absolutely. And that's another thing on our YouTube page. If you go back, oh man, I can't believe it's already been 11, 12 years ago. On our YouTube channel, you go back for our investigation, I think part 1, part 2, part 3. In them videos, you'll see our experiences and that locker slam. You'll hear that and everything on them videos. Yep.
Yeah. Now, when I drove out to there one night, I had my kids and I were it's in the middle of I don't remember if it was the summer or it was getting ready to fall. And my daughter, she loves this kind of stuff too. So we drove out there, and there was a bunch of people there. And you know me, I'm always nosy. So I got out and I introduced myself, and they were from Oregon. They drove all the way from Oregon to stay there over the weekend and do an investigation. So that place is pretty well known around the country for people that like ghosts and stuff, huh?
Yes, it is. It's one of them, just relatively, still, 12 years later, new locations that a lot of people still haven't had the chance to go to, but definitely want to.
Yeah. Now, let me flip that on you. Are there places out of Iowa that you guys have went to or want to go to?
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, I've been down to Kentucky. I've been to Waverly Hills Sanatorium. Been to Bobby Mackey's.
Portal to down below.
Yeah, absolutely. Every state has 3, 4 locations that I want to hit up.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's going to Gettysburg or some old sanatorium up in Minnesota.
What was
Tombstone? There's just so many locations.
Yeah. Now, see, I talked to the people that own the Birdcage Theater in Tombstone, Arizona, And super nice guy I talked to, but the owner didn't want to come on and do a live interview. But I've actually been outside of that theater. We went javelina hunting out there, and we were going to Wilcox, Arizona, so it was on the way from Phoenix. We flew out there and got a rental car, and we stopped in Tombstone to look around. That's a neat place, that birdcage theater.
Right, yeah. I definitely want to visit that, for sure.
That would be kind of cool. They say they see stuff in there all the time.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So, do we have anything like that in Iowa other than what we talked about tonight, or are those the two main hot spots in Iowa?
Oh, no. I mean, we got the Squirrel Cage Jail.
I've heard of that. That's over in Omaha or somewhere, right?
Over in Council Bluffs.
Yeah, Council Bluffs.
Yep.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's another very active location. We even have an old school just not far from where I live, over in Bloomfield, Iowa, the old elementary school that we got access to. That is extremely haunted as well. I mean, it's something that we have found, like old pentagrams painted on the basement walls behind a bunch of stuff. Whether or not that has anything to do with the hauntings, I don't know.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah,
but,
we need. Yeah, I don't.
Right.
Yeah, we need to get away from that. I got to say hi.
Absolutely.
I got to say hi to Alfred and Connie real quick. Hi, Alfred and Connie. Thanks for listening and watching. I appreciate you. So, what about theaters? Like some of the isn't Iowa University? Isn't there something in Iowa that's supposed to be haunted?
Yeah, I imagine. I remember way back when reading some stories about some universities, whether it's someone hurting themselves, so to say.
Yeah.
At a university, and the legend of them haunting the place or such.
I think every college has a rumor or something like that.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And we did do called the American Theater up there in Cherokee, Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
We did that, probably 10 years ago. There was just a rumor of the old owner. I can't remember the name now. I've had so many investigations since. But we investigated that place. So, yeah, we've done one or two theaters. Old Army barracks up there in Des Moines. This was way back before. I think they turned a bunch of them into apartments now.
Huh. Up at Fort Dodge, or?
No, in Des Moines.
Oh, in Des Moines.
Yep.
I know where you're talking about. Matt Stewart, my buddy Stewie says there's a prison in Mansfield, Ohio that's really spooky, super spooky.
Yes, absolutely. I know which one he's talking about. Definitely love to check out that place.
Yeah. What was Waverly like? I've actually seen some stuff on that. Now that's got to be a weird place because everything's open. I mean, all the windows are gone and all that stuff. Isn't that kind of weird?
It's extremely weird. The place is so huge.
Mm-hmm.
You literally would have to be there 2-3 nights to really just investigate the full place.
Excuse me.
It's amazing. I believe the 4th floor, we had shadow figures literally walking around us. There was a group of us. I bet there was 6-7 of us that were literally like back to back going down this hallway because these shadow figures were like walking beside us, coming up to us, backing off. One of the most intense things we've ever experienced. I mean, there'll be some friends of mine that if they're listening, they know will never forget that night. I mean, it is just a extremely haunted place, but like you said, it's so open. There's so many. When you're walking down them hallways, there's like glass. There's like doors that lead to a platform outside that leads to 40, 50-foot drop. So it's one of the things like, oh my gosh, I hope something just doesn't grab me, and throw me off the edge. I mean, that thought did come by, through your head a time or two when you're out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really an incredible place.
Is that the one that's got the tunnel where they used to take the people that had was it not typhoid but tuberculosis? They would take them down that tunnel to the mortuary. Is that the same place?
Yes. So the chute there, it's like 100 feet deep, and I actually went down there. And if I remember correctly, what it is they created that tunnel because when people would get sick or people would die, when people would die, they took them to this tunnel to kind of keep their morale up. They didn't want to go out the front doors, with a dead body,
Right.
that type of thing. They took them down this tunnel to go, out the back door. No one could see. Wouldn't bring that morale down of how many people were dying in that place.
Oh, it was a lot.
The tunnel's so long that if I remember correctly, like by the time you reach the end of the tunnel, it's in a different zip code.
Huh? That's crazy. Yeah. Bill and Carrie in Ohio say that Mansfield prison is well worth a visit and pay the extra to get the guide.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely keep that in mind.
There's a prison in Missouri. I think it's Jeff City that was a federal. Yes. They shut it down and it's open to ghost tours now, isn't it?
Yeah, Missouri State Penitentiary.
That's
there a few times.
That's supposed to be pretty creepy.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got about 5 minutes, Stephen. I've thoroughly enjoyed this. Now, you guys have had experiences with the big fellow too.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Here's the thing.
That
I love about our group is we don't just stick to ghosts. I mean, we're out there literally. I don't know how many times I've gotten poison ivy because I'm crawling through the woods looking for the elusive one.
Yeah.
The amount of stories I have on him, it's incredible.
Okay, now you got to do me a favor now, because I did the show last week and I had 5 people email me saying that they have seen Bigfoot from here in Iowa. If you're out there doing some stuff and you're seeing or hearing stuff, I want you to call me. So I'd like to come out there and kind of video. I bought a FLIR camera that I would love to come out and do some taping and stuff just to experience some of that. Would you do that for me?
I would be more than happy to do that for you.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Yeah. Like I said, I just like to see the big guy.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, believe it or not, people, here in Iowa, there are many reports. There are many reports of sightings.
Yeah, there was like over, now this is just reporting in Iowa, but there was over 76 of them that I found.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
And that's the ones that were reported. That's not the ones that weren't reported.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that's still reluctant, to say anything. They don't want to be that crazy person.
Well, they don't want to. Yeah, they don't want to be ridiculed. I'm at the age now where it's just, I told everybody, on the ghost stuff, I've heard and seen some stuff that I can't debunk it. I mean, I've got the video. I mean, I can show you. But I can't say for sure that he's out there. But I can't say that he's not out there. But after talking with all these people the last couple of months, my mind's more open than it's ever been about it. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, just with us going out there still to this day, we're going to the same spot that we've been going to for 14 years now, in the same location. That's how much activity we have caught.
Yeah.
In 14 years. I'd love to take you there sometime.
Ned says, I've never seen him, but I keep an eye open. That's funny. Hey, if someone wants to go on some of these investigations, or if they would like to talk to you about maybe joining your group, what's the best way to get a hold of Iowa Paranormal?
Best way to get a hold of us, go to IA, abbreviations for Iowa, obviously, iaparanormal.com.
Mm-hmm.
That's our website. Go to the Contact Us button, fill it out, and send me a message. I believe my cell phone number is even on there, too. You can shoot me a text, and I'll definitely get back to you. If you need any help in your homes, business, anything like that, we don't charge a dime. We're here just to help anyone and everyone that needs answers.
Yeah, Bill said, now wouldn't you think with all the trail cameras out there in the country, we would have captured one on video, super sneaky? Bill, there's literally thousands of trail cam pictures of Bigfoot, or they don't know what it is. Now, 95% of them are so grainy, and I mean, you can tell they're people in a ghillie suit, and I mean, you can debunk them, but I've seen a couple that are pretty crazy. Now, we had those experts on last week that did the documentary. Now, Stephen, you're more. I'm not an expert on the big fellow at all. I just like the stories. But Tobe and them guys said that there's other animals, which this is absolutely true. I can tell you as a hunter, animals can detect EMF, electric magnetic fields. That's why we wear a hex suit when we go hunting. It blocks the EMF off your body, because white-tailed deer and birds, turkeys, and they can actually see an EMF field. That's proven.
Oh, wow.
Sharks can detect an EMF field. That's how they feed. They have all them little nodules in their nose called amples of Lorenzini that they can actually, when they're swimming, they can pick up electrical fields in the water. That's how they hunt. So, animals can detect that. So I'm not saying that's what it is, Bill, but if you got something that's highly intelligent and they have that ability, maybe that's why the cameras aren't doing what they should be doing. It's a theory. So
yep.
I know one thing, man. You put those hex suits on, turkeys will walk right up on you. As long as you don't move, they have no idea you're there.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy. All right, Stephen, I appreciate your time, buddy. Thank you so much. And can we get you on again sometime?
Oh, absolutely. Anytime you want to go down that Bigfoot rabbit hole, I'll be more than happy to talk to you about it.
Well, we might talk Bigfoot next time we get you on. Or if you got something cooking, if you got an investigation that, because I from my understanding, you got people reaching out to you all the time to come out and see what's going on in their houses, right?
Absolutely. All the time we're getting emails, phone calls from just families that just need some answers. They need someone to talk to, and that's what I'm here for.
There you go. That's awesome. Stephen, I appreciate you, buddy. We'll talk to you soon, all right?
Okay. Thank you so much, Dan. Take care.
Thank you, Stephen. We'll talk to you later. There he goes, Stephen Tracy. Nice guy right there. I enjoyed that very much. That is going to wrap it up for this edition of Unknown Files. I appreciate everybody hanging on there with me. I'll get back with you, everybody, on Facebook Live. And you know what? We'll do it again next week, God willing. And tell your friends and family about the show and the apps and all that other fun stuff, all right? We'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody. We're going to go back to regular scheduler programming on the Outdoor Call Radio Network. See you next week. Oh, that was fun, huh? I enjoyed that. That hour went really quick. Thank you, Rick. I appreciate that. Hoyt, he is watching all of us. He is not going to be found. There you go. Kurt, Bigfoot knows better. His wife knows EMF fields. Oh, that's funny, Kurt. You guys are killing me. Thank you, guys. Hey, let me know how things are going. We'll talk to you soon. If you need anything, let me know. Otherwise, we'll talk to you on Saturday. Have a great rest of your week, and thanks for spending some time with me on the Unknown Files. See you next time.